It's finals week and you haven't started studying for your exams. Nothing to fear, nothing to fear. Class is in session. Hi, my name is Skylar, and if you're new here, welcome to my channel. If you're not, welcome back. This video is a little bit different from what I normally do. I'm going to be talking about how to cram for your finals from a college student. For some reason, my brain will not allow me to start studying for exams more than like 2 days in advance. That's a terrible quality. If you take one thing away from this video, try to avoid doing that. It's just not smart, trust me. But I'm here to tell you that the teachers who say, if you start studying for this test the night before, you're not gonna do well, are wrong. You still have time. You can still do good. So these are my tips on how to do well on tests after you've procrastinated studying for them. Let's begin. Number 1, don't panic. That is literally the worst thing that you can do. And I do this frequently because I get so overwhelmed when I start preparing for a test because I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so much information that I have to remember in so little time. And that panic and anxiety kind of prevents me from starting to do any work. I just get put into like this anxiety coma. It's just not productive because all the time that I spend at my desk crying could have been spent studying. You just have to shift your mindset from there's so much work to do, I'm never going to be able to remember all of this, I'm going to do terrible, to it can't get worse than where I'm at right now. Like if you didn't study at all for a test and you have 5 hours to prepare, it can't get worse than not studying at all. Like those 5 hours that you're going to spend hovering over your computer are going to make you better than you were the 5 hours before that, you know? So in that moment when you want to panic, just think, it can't get worse, it will only get better, and I'm going to make it better. I'm going to choose to study instead of accepting defeat. It's all about mindset, people. Come on. Mindset. You may think you don't know math, but if you start thinking that you know math, I dropped out of my high school stats class, right? Because I'm terrible at math. I am a language arts person. I got almost a perfect on my language arts portions of my SATs. Math, horrendous. I got a 105 on my accounting exam last week. I studied really hard for that though, but only for 2 days. I didn't start preparing like 2 weeks before. I started 2 days before, and I got a 105. Mindset. I can't do math, but I was like, you know what? I understand this. I got this. I can work through it. It's all up here. After we decide that we're not going to panic, step 2, make a list of things that you need to study. Obviously, part of the reason that we're panicking is we're overwhelmed with the amount of work that we see in front of us. And even if it is a lot of work and a lot of information, it'll be a lot more manageable if you have it organized in front of you. A lot of professors in college give out a study guide, even though it's not like the study guides that you get in high school that are practice problems. It's more or less just a list of topics that you need to study. You can turn that into studying in practice. And if your professor doesn't send out a list of topics, you can make one for yourself. You can do that through looking at like class assignments or book chapters or things like that. Once you have this list, you're going to want to color code it, which I know that sounds like so like, come on, color code it? Skylar, what are you talking about? This is a technique that I just started doing for my accounting exam last week that I was talking about. This worked so well for me. So with this list of topics, I went through and under every bullet point that I understood pretty well, I wrote like definitions or any other information that I could remember on my own in green. With stuff that I could half remember, but like kind of needed to look at material for help, I would put in yellow. And then things that I absolutely had no clue had to use the book for, I would put those in red. And not like just the topic in red, I'm talking writing information underneath it. Let me find the example of like the study guide that I made for accounting, because seriously, like this works so well. Not only are you then studying while you're writing down information on the study guide, you're also creating a map of the things that you're going to need to study more. I don't remember what Gmail account I put this in. Whoopsies. Does anyone else have like 5 different emails, or am I just crazy? I might just be crazy. I feel so much more lively when I have the mic. Like I'm never this talkative. I love this. Everything in black was the original study guide, and then the colors are everything that I added. So once you have this guide, you know what topics you need to spend more time on and what topics you can kind of just ignore. So the next step is actually studying. There's a couple methods of studying that I use that really help me remember things quickly. One, for me, I'm a big like rewriting person. I will rewrite notes, I'll rewrite definitions, parts of the book chapters. For me, writing things down really helps me remember it when I go to write it on the test. Try to avoid just typing it. You want to like physically write it down because it's better for your memory. You can also redo quizzes or practice problems or tests that were given given in the class, majority of the time, professors are going to use very similar questions to ones that they've already given in class. Something that I like to do is if classes have like online assignments that you're able to redo for extra practice, I'll redo them. And if I get one right, okay, great, move on to the next one. If I get one wrong, then I'll write it down in my notebook. Again, that goes back into, for me, writing stuff down really helps me remember it. And then Quizlet. I cannot stress enough, like especially if you're in college at a big school like me. Like I didn't say this earlier, but I'm at Indiana University. You go to a big school, like 9 times out of 10, there's somebody who has taken the course that you're in right now who has already made a Quizlet set that you can just go look at. And if not, make your own Quizlet. Oh my god, lifesaver. Like one of my professors, this was for a midterm exam this year, one of my professors told us that he basically straight up takes the questions from the practice quizzes. So I just made a Quizlet with all of the practice quiz questions, and I went over it and over and over it like again and again and again. I finished that exam in 15 minutes just because I remembered it. I have a disclaimer, but I'm gonna put it at the end. Study skills are important, but it's also a lot more beneficial to have good test taking skills. I think that's something that has helped me do well is I'm very good at taking tests. It is a skill. There's definitely techniques that go into it that can be helpful to manage your time and like not panic when you get stuck at questions that you really don't know how to do. So I'm just gonna explain how I take tests. I like to get to exam rooms at least 15 minutes early just because I like to be able to get settled in my space and kind of like reduce that anxiety. Make sure you know in advance what you need to bring so you're not like scrambling. Always bring more than one number 2 pencil. I bring 3. I actually brought 2 calculators to my accounting exam, but I'm also just crazy. But also they're like really kind of calculators, literally like from the dollar store. Didn't trust that they were gonna work. If you can pick your seat, pick one towards the front of the room just so you're not getting distracted by people in front of you. I look like a crazy person when I take exams, but it works. I'm telling you, I've perfected my technique to a T. I like to go from the front to the back and answer questions that I know right off the top of my head. This can be questions like definitions. After I get all the way through with the easy questions, I'll work back to front, which again probably looks like insane. I don't get stuck on questions. If I don't know it, I move on to a question that I'm able to figure out. And I just keep going back and forth and working through questions. The biggest thing on tests is don't give up. Seriously, just keep grinding through questions that you may not fully understand. Keep working through them. Don't give up. It seriously is a mindset, and you can't let yourself get distracted by people leaving the room. Just because they got done before you doesn't mean that they did better. Getting done early means 2 things. 1, you absolutely knew everything, or you literally knew nothing. Seriously, use all of your time that you're given. I'd be like the last person taking an exam if I needed it to be. Don't give up until that timer goes off. Now, another strategy is before the test, knowing how many questions you need to get right to get the grade that you want to get. Keep track of ones that you know that you got right so that you know if you're on the right track or not. And then you can also star questions that you're kind of unsure of and that you want to go back to if you do have more time. So yeah, those are kind of my main test taking strategies. And I did say that I was going to have a disclaimer at the end. I specifically said that this video is for cramming for exams. That's because some of these tactics don't help you remember things long term. That's kind of a bad thing. I never fully learned how to study throughout the semester, and that's something that I'm really working on, is studying to learn instead of studying to pass a test, because I think studying to pass was something that was ingrained in me. I don't think that's a good thing. That's not going to benefit me long term. This is like last case scenario. This is when you need to pass, this is what you do. You're in college, you're spending money on college to get a degree that you need to know how to use. So it is important to learn the material that you need to learn. With my core classes, I'm very on top of like knowing my information because I know that I'm going to continue using it throughout my time here. However, on some of my gen eds or like math classes, I'm definitely using these tips. I do cram slightly. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I know that it's kind of different from what I normally do. Let me know how your exams are going. I hope you all do great. I know that you will if you use these tips. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Next week, I'm going to have a video coming out that I have been planning on making for probably like 7 years. And I'm so excited. I haven't started making it yet, but I have like the vision in my head. I cannot wait to make it. Subscribe to stay tuned for that one. I hope you guys have a great finals week, and I will see you next video. I feel like I should do more videos with the microphone. I really like this. This is fun.